Chapter 27. The Vet. Blue. The veterinary clinic the carriage stops at is a nice building. Plenty of windows, and painted up a solid shade of white. There are some box hedges that probably used to be animals, but have since been left to grow back into unimaginative shapes. It's not the worst place I've been. At least it seems pretty clean. Master seems to share my hesitation, as he simply observes the building with me for a few seconds.
What do you think, Blue?
I don't really know what to say to that. The place seems nice, but looks are deceiving. I'm uneasy, but that's not something that could be helped. I don't know what I'm here for, so I don't know how to prepare myself. There won't be a general examination. I already have one on file, and it's rare that it would be repeated within a year.
Come on, Blue. Let's go and get this over with, Master says, waving me over as he heads to the door.
I don't know what possesses me, but I can't hold in the nervous energy. Master, I'm scared. The admission comes without prompting, and suddenly I'm cold all over. The comfortable petting from the carriage seems like such a faraway dream now. My master has no reason to pet me. I'm acting like an entitled little brat who doesn't know his place. I feel the sting of tears in my eyes, but I close them before anything can come of it. Saying it out loud makes it so much worse, so much more real. Makes it all the more clear how powerless I am against it. I'm afraid of this place, scared of what awaits me, and there's nothing I can do about it. All I see of Master is his shoes turning back around.
I know you're nervous, but we have to do this. I promise I'll stay with you the whole time. You'll have nothing to worry about, Blue. Tell me if it gets to be too much, and I'll get them to stop. All right?
I'm nodding along with his words. It's a kinder promise than I ever thought I'd receive. This master just might mean it, too. He's always kept his word, even when it really doesn't matter, even when it's just to me. This is something that we need to do. We have to just get through this, and then we can go home. The insides of the building match the well-maintained exterior. The majority of the floor tiles are white, with individual colored tiles sprinkled into the mix. It seems to be an attempt to make the interior a bit more cheerful and bright, but it falls quite a bit short. At least the place seems clean enough. There are even a few other people in the waiting room flipping through insubstantial periodicals. Their pets sit on the floor next to them. Some masters talk soothingly to them, allowing them close enough to rest their heads on their laps, while others maintain a silent distance. There's a pet in the corner struggling to get under their master's seat, curling in on themselves. A smaller child is trying to coax them out, while their parent seems thoroughly bored by the spectacle, choosing to sit and read while their kid tries to play. I pull closer to Master. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a visit to the vet. The atmosphere always leaves me feeling a bit sick inside. Master doesn't see any of it, or if he does, he doesn't say anything, and just walks right up to the counter with the smiling attendant.
"Hello, sir. How may I help you today?"
The tone is overly bright, but doesn't appear forced.
"Hey there. I needed a GYT form."
Master's voice is friendly, but straight and to the point. He doesn't want to linger here any more than I do.
"A GYT form? Oh, yes. I forgot they changed the name for the academic files. You're a student?"
she says, pulling together a number of papers from across her desk.
"Yeah, new student at the academia. If you don't mind my asking, what's a GYT form?"
I'm sorry if it sounds like a stupid question. I've just never heard of that before.
"Oh, it's just a standard test panel for STIs. You know, just trying to keep these frisky little critters clean and safe. They call it something else for academic files, trying to make it sound more official, I guess, but that's what it is."
She hands a completed pile of papers to my master on a clipboard with instructions to fill them out and wait for them to call the number at the top of the page. But I've tuned out. An STI panel. That's not too bad. I haven't had one in 5 or so years, but I'm fairly certain it's nothing more than a few uncomfortable swabs and a wait. I used to have to get new ones every sale to make sure I was clean, high enough quality to do my duties, though the last few years it hadn't been as much of a priority. Something about the tests costing more than I'd sell for with updated papers. If there was ever any tell of disease, they would have sent me in for a test. Thank the stars it never came to that. I've stayed clean and out of danger. Master leads me away from the desk and finds a chair against the back wall by a stretch of carpet and a pile of periodicals. Their covers, once vibrant displays of colored inks and shiny finish, are dull and a little scuffed. There may be a handful of recent ones in the pile, but it doesn't seem like this establishment throws away their old copies. There's no one in this corner. Plenty of room to kneel by my master's feet, and I take advantage of that as best I can. I set about practicing the new sit pose I learned in class, trying to focus on anything other than the papers Master's filling out, and the never-ending cost I keep adding to him. He hasn't even used me for anything worthwhile, though the current testing does make me realize that's probably for the best. He probably wanted to make sure I was clean and suitable before he went any further with me. It makes sense, in a way. He didn't know anything about pets before he got me, so he probably didn't know there was a way to screen me for diseases. I'm scratching over my wrist, and I know I should stop before Master sees me. Or worse, someone else sees and chastises Master for my behavior. I can't help the nerves, though, and settle for making the motions as unobtrusive as possible. My masters have always been pretty selective. If they were willing to share me, it was with guests they invited or friends they loaned me out to. There's really nowhere that I could have picked up an STI from, unless one of their friends had neglected to share. But even then, I would have developed outward symptoms by now. I spent at least 2 months with the... Oh, stars in the brightest, highest lengths of the world above, the guards from the market! They hadn't had any problem sampling product from the lower dregs. The market guards weren't the most refined batch. They didn't care for safety in the moment, nor did they seem to be particularly concerned with who they rolled around with at night. Even still, it's unlikely that I could have contracted something from them. I would have seen or felt something by now, right? I feel ice settle in my veins. I'd be worse than useless with a disease. Stars! If I managed to endanger my master, I would hope for the mercy of being put down quickly. Blue? Are you okay? His voice sounds far away. Yes, master, I answer with an even tone. There's a prickling feeling at my eyes, and I know that if I blink, tears are going to roll. I keep my gaze fixed on the tile, trying to wordlessly fight off the hysteria. If I've contracted something, then I'm dangerous. Dangerous pets are not kept around. I have no value or skill to hold my master's interest while he retrains me to be what he wants. I'll never get the chance to be a good familiar. Blue, you're lying to me. His voice is a whisper, but the words are no less threatening. No, master, I never... Blue, you're bleeding! I feel the slickness on my fingers, the echoing wetness on my wrist, but it takes a moment for my mind to put the two thoughts together. Sure enough, when I look down to check, my eyes confirm the statement. Red is dripping from the agitated lines at my wrist. There's a twinge of pain when I pull my hands apart, almost as though it's a punishment for acknowledging the wound. No words are springing to mind, so I just sputter uselessly, trying to come up with an answer from my master. Give me your hands. Let me see. The order is quiet, gentler than I deserve. It's the same tone Master used when he asked for my feet to apply salve. This should be safe. I'm ashamed at how easily the thought comes. Even if it is for punishment, I can't bring myself to deny this man. I give him my hands. He fiddles with his satchel a few moments and produces a white cotton handkerchief, pressing it firmly to the wound before I can protest. A part of me is in awe. He didn't even hesitate. My blood will surely ruin the cloth, but Master deems me more worthy than the piece of fabric. My face is hot, and I make sure that when Master next looks up, my eyes are on his shoes, the angle hopefully enough to disguise the color in my face. Blue, I want you to keep pressure on your wrist. I know it hurts to press on it, but we just want to stop the bleeding,
okay? Once you stop bleeding, I can fix the wound. I nod along slowly and press the fabric into my wrist with perhaps a bit too much force. The twinge of pain is easily buried underneath the balm of following instructions. The orders Master gives are few and far between. It will not do to be seen slacking. All right, Blue. I filled out what was on your sheet, but I need some help with some of these questions. Okay? His eyes are on the pages again, and I pull myself back into a presentable kneel before answering.
Yes, Master.
Have you ever had one of these tests before? His intonation makes it clear that he's reading off the words on the page, though his body language does betray interest in my answer.
Yes, Master, though it was several years ago.
Honesty is not only important for accuracy. I want to give Master all the answers that he seems interested in. Have you been sexually active in the last 6 months? The pen scratches across the page, filling in my answer, presumably. He doesn't look up when he reads the next question off. I assume it's simple formality, perhaps an exercise in making me use my voice.
Yes, Master.
The last year? He seems a little strained.
Yes, Master.
I wonder why he's repeating obvious questions. The last 5?
Master's body is tense like his voice. Yes, Master. It's becoming increasingly clear that the answers I'm giving are not the ones that my master wants to hear, but lying is equally bad. There's no winning here.
Did you... before that?
I nod, seemingly having lost the ability to speak. I don't want Master to be mad. I can only hope he sees this as experience, not just a long list detailing how used I am.
Did, He's looking back down at the list of questions. Did you use or have access to any protection during intercourse?
My face goes a whole mess of red at that. Stars above, just thinking about the penalty for bringing such a thing up with a master who might see value in you burns. I can't imagine trying to bring it up with the market guards. No, well, Stars, this master likes verbal responses. I'm not doing any good stuttering and stumbling over my words. When did using words become so hard? I'm not allowed to ask, but if they want, they can do whatever they'd like. I try to make my answer as neutral as possible, but I still recognize the slight hitch in my master's breathing, the way he grips the papers he's reading. He's mad, and I'm screwed.
They... what?
I can tell he's trying to hold himself back. It's probably because we're in public. It's difficult not to roll over, offer myself anything in order to quell his anger. I settle for the least overt tactic and shuffle forward just a bit on my knees. I don't have the confidence to touch his leg, so I let my head touch the floor, resting the tips of my fingers on his shoes. Please, Master, don't be angry. I'm very grateful. I know it could be a lot worse. How did it get to this point? I swear, earlier today we were happy. Master was praising me, petting me, telling me that he was proud to have me as a familiar, quelling any doubt and fear in my mind. He was good and kind and perfect. And what had I done? I'd gotten him in trouble with his teacher, and reminded the whole of the class that he'd picked a whore instead of something proper.
Blue, no, it's not... I'm not angry.
The exasperated lilt to his voice tells a different story, and I keep my head down. I'm proud of the relatively small jerk I make when his hands stroke through my hair. He's trying to calm me down. He's not mad, or at least he doesn't want to be mad, here in the waiting room with a good 10 or so others sitting around. I believe that. I really don't have the option not to.
You're doing very well, Blue. You've been doing well all day. You even bore a punishment that you didn't deserve. We'll have to talk once we get back home about all the rewards I owe you.
He speaks like he's just making conversation, just talking about the heat of the suns or the clouds, but the whole of my world shifts. What is he talking about? Rewards? He thinks my behavior is good, worthy of praise, and perhaps more? Master, nothing I've done today warrants such...
I don't think so. You've done quite a lot today. You were a very good familiar. You handled everything with grace and dignity. You even helped me make a more convincing scene in class. Not to mention helping me collect all the flyers from the fair today, when I definitely would have forgotten or lost them on my own. And that's not even mentioning one of the most amazing things you've done for me today.
My head tilts to the side, and Master's hand slides under my chin, tilting my head up. I'm too consumed in my own thoughts to even process the rules I'm breaking looking at his face. But it's just that gentle, sincere smile. No ugly sneer telling me I was stupid enough to fall for his words. He means what he's saying, and his eyes are looking me over, and I wonder if he can see the way his words are affecting me, the way his praise squeezes my chest and makes it so hard and yet so easy to breathe. What would that be, Master?
You told me you were scared.
He lets it sink in, and I'm thankful for the moment to process.
You told me when it all got to be too much. You trusted me, and that deserves quite a bit more than just a simple reward.
I press my lips together to stifle my elated sob. I managed to do something right. Master is very pleased with me. The moment is over much too soon, as someone on the opposite side of the room calls out a number, and Master lets me know that they're calling for us. The table is metal and cold, but I get up when prompted without any resistance. There's no crinkly paper like there had been at the clinic, and I can't help but feel relieved. The substance had set my already fried nerves on edge. But even in my relatively calm state, I don't like the thought of causing a disturbance for those around me. Many more questions are traded back and forth as the vet looks over my file. Master handles most of them with quick answers, though some of them are directed at me. I feel oddly proud when Master tells the man that I don't need restraints. The preliminaries don't take very long, and soon we get down to the uncomfortable swabbing, before I figure out that either the tests have changed, or I'm not remembering them correctly. The vet comes at me with a big syringe, needle protruding ominously. I jump gracelessly at the appearance of the needle, and no matter how much I tell myself that I should just settle down and take it, I just can't bring myself to sit and offer my arm. I look over to the seat in the corner of the examination room where Master has been a mostly quiet observer. I don't expect help, but the need to confirm his presence is overwhelming.
You really should get your familiar under control. I know you protested the restraints in the beginning, but will you reconsider for this last bit?
The vet has been cool and quiet this whole exam, but the words bite into me. I can do this, it's just one stupid needle. Master takes only a moment before coming to stand at my side.
You don't need to restrain him. He's just never been a fan of needles. I've got this.
He smiles at the vet before turning his attention to me.
Blue.
He drapes one arm around my shoulders, and I shudder and lean close, shamelessly stealing his warmth.
I want you to look at me and bite down really hard if you hurt, okay?
He puts his hand in front of my mouth, making it painfully obvious what he intends for me to do. I can only stare at his offered hand. I open my mouth to protest, but he just slots his finger in between my teeth and nods for the doctor to proceed. I feel distantly that my arm is taken and manipulated next to me, but the only thing that I can focus on is the warmth of my master's arm around me, his comforting scent, his offering in my mouth. I bite down just a little when the needle slides in, more out of habit than anything, but Master makes no noise, no affronted cry. He intended for me to take his words seriously and bite down. He's smiling even, as though he's happy I've actually taken him up on his offer.
We will have your results in a few minutes. I'll make sure the receptionist gets you a signed copy that you can use for your school records.
The vet rambles on, but I could care less. I'm still marveling at the care Master has shown for me. We are led back outside into the waiting room, and I rest my head on Master's lap. My test comes back. Clean.